Just
All right, you guys, welcome to another exciting edition of the podcast. I believe this is our 381st episode. So, fuck yeah, bitches. We have a really exciting episode, and I want to remind everybody that we're now broadcasting full video episodes on YouTube, which of course I was resistant to until everybody told me I was dumb. And so now you could watch us on the YouTube at Super Excited Pod. And we have a new exciting guest joining us. I love introducing you guys to people who I really feel like are going to fit in with our cast of characters here on the pod. And this is somebody that I've known for a few years who I just think will be such a perfect fit for us. Please welcome to the show the very funny, the very fabulous, great human being, quite honestly. It's my friend, our friend, Michael P.
woo, the crowd goes wild. Wait, is that why? Is that why you're naked? Because now we're doing this on video.
I am, well, no, I mean, this is my usual uniform with I don't wear sleeves unless I am doing stand up or I'm in a formal situation that requires, but otherwise, it's, people know this about me. I run so hot that if I don't have to have anything over my arms, I don't.
That makes sense. I run hot too.
I think, have we talked about that? Yeah. So, but we're
Yeah,
both from a cold climate.
right.
Now, you and I both we met working together, but you and I we both grew up outside of Boston, but we didn't know it. Well, we knew it,
Yes.
but we didn't know that about we didn't know each other there.
And Boston's a small place, but not small enough where we would have known each other. Like, I think I was in Jamaica Plain, which was the like Spanish Harlem of of Boston. And you grew up
I grew up in
where?
Andover, so north, more burbs, and a lot of white people, whole lot of white people.
Mm.
But now, I always think because I grew up in such fucking biting ass cold that like maybe I have a tolerance to it. I don't. I think I have an elevated body temperature. That's what I think is going on with my sweating.
I think so too. I think so too. But I do you feel like you've assimilated to the LA weather?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like when you go back to the East Coast, is that cold aggressive?
Yes, that's a beautiful question, and I know exactly what you're getting at, which is like it happened fast. I lost the tolerance fast. I spend like 1 week in winter a year, like visiting my family for the holidays, and like that's a good dose. This just happened to be this past visit was like I think it was 10 degrees. It was like, okay. And I kept telling everyone I'm being a great sport
Yeah.
because I don't have to do it all the time. And according to everybody who I know who lives there, that this past winter has been really rough. How were you with winters growing up?
I mean, as good as one that lives in Boston can be, you learn all the tips and the tricks, the double socks. I see because it's raining today. I don't know if you've looked out, but I see that the LA folks have caught on to the plastic Target bags over the shoes with the double wrap
Oh, wow.
to save you from getting your feet wet. And I learned that in Boston, with the snow. Like you just got to do what you got to do.
Oh, the slush of it and all of that stuff. I've just been, it's been like
Ugh,
this past week in LA was really warm, and I was just like, you know what? Whatever I have to gripe about, I'm gonna knock. Well, you couldn't talk about how nice it was out here because everywhere else it was fucking awful.
well, you could. You just be a dick.
You know what? Okay, every time I look away, by the way, I'm taking notes. That's a possible episode title. You could, but you'd be a dick.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You're
but
welcome.
okay. So I want to get into we're gonna get more into your backstory in a second, but I want to get into our big hot topics of the week because we were off last week. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, and I know that you, sir, are a dancer yourself, and I want to get a professional's evaluation. First of all, it's no secret to the people of the podcast. I'm a huge Bad Bunny fan. I don't know if you know this, Michael. I don't know if we've gotten a chance to talk about it, but I am actually engaged to Benito. We're in
That-
love.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird that it hasn't come up more this week because he's been getting so much publicity that like that might not like that I might not be more part of the conversation, but I am marrying into his family. And so I was understandably excited about it, but I would love to get your thoughts if you saw
Well,
it.
my thoughts is that I'm engaged to him.
Mm.
And so it's weird that this is how we come to find out that we're both engaged to Benito. Have you met his mother, Rosa?
I wait. This is like the boy is mine playing out in real life, and I am Monica.
I was gonna say, I feel very brandy.
Okay, perfect. Because I've always related to, this is an aside, but it's relevant. I've always related to Monica a lot because they call her Gunica, like she fights. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm like quick to cut a bitch. And one time, Monica, this was like early days of Twitter. Monica and I had an interaction, and a lot of people don't know Monica and I have the same government last name, and she noticed, and she was like, "Hey." I noticed we have the same last name, and you're white, and my daddy's half white. She's like, "Are we cousins?" And I was like, "If I'm cousins with Monica by any degree," I was like, even probably not, but even the fact that she suggested it, it made me very excited. So we are in a boy is mine situation. I have not met my future mother-in-law yet. Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
She sent me coffee the other day.
Well,
She hasn't actually. This all has played out in my dreams, but um we are in love with the same man, Rory. This is what's happening right now.
okay, well, this is awkward, but
Yeah.
I think we are in love with the same man. When did you become so okay, when did you become a fan and when and what did you think from a because tell the people about your dance background.
Yeah, so I've danced now for about 8 years. I dance Latin, bachata, salsa, train here in Los Angeles. I compete. In 2022, I was a national amateur title holder, and this year, actually, I'll be competing again in June. So I've been ramping up for that.
That's exciting. I remember I saw you dancing at a holiday party once and I was like, that's not just casual. I think he's got some formal I like it's just that thing where it's like oh, that person's not just like drunk and freestyling. Like you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the most LA-ist thing I've done here is actually dance at the Staples Center. That felt very LA-ish.
That's
Like,
fucking awesome. That's really
yeah.
cool. There's something about performing in whatever there's certain venues that are very special when you perform. Like when I remember the first time I had to stand up at the Comedy Store on Sunset, and I was like, they always say it's haunted with like ghosts of comedians of past, and I was just like, oh man, like it's just there are certain spaces that are really special. And you said you danced growing up as well.
Yeah, I danced growing up as well. I learned how to dance. My grandmother taught me to dance in like her kitchen, and so that's as early as I can remember when I started to dance. So watching the Super Bowl as a Latino and as somebody who's a dancer, was incredible, as you can imagine. I noticed a few things. So, if you notice, this year's Super Bowl was very much catered to the viewer at home. The tights, the angles of the frames were very tight, and the story that was being told from the kid that was laying down on the chairs to the grandfather, which by the way, I know a bunch of these, like the grandfather, that was like that's my one of my instructors' father.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and a bunch of the folks that were dancing are folks that I am in the scene with, from like pretty familiar. Anyway, the frames were very tight because he wanted to tell a very specific story. Now, compare this year's to Rihanna's. Rihanna's was very big. Her performance felt like it was more catered towards the viewing audience that was there. It was horizontal. It was big. The choreography was like up in the sky. You know what I'm saying? And there were drones and all these things. This one was a little bit more compact, and he really told a story. Like you could tell that's what he wanted to do through these like tight frames and great choreography, obviously.
Very cinematic in that regard, like you mentioned with
Yes.
those tight shots. And obviously, inherently there was a lot of politics and conversation surrounding it and controversy and what's I thought he was we could talk about the creativity and the storytelling, and we could talk about the sheer talent, and we could talk about like the endurance and the charisma and the star quality of that man, and the sheer sexiness and the breath control and all of these things. But I thought the way that he flew above the political attacks made them seem even pettier because when the how can you take issue with the only thing more powerful than hate is love if you're not full of hate. And it just and also just like how much effort he put towards uplifting, like the looking into camera and saying like I'm here because I believe in myself. You believe in yourself. You're worth so much more than he's the and giving his Grammy to the kid. Like I'm really touched by and having Ricky Martin come out and the
I
and
mean, Ricky Martin still got the juice.
oh my
Like
God.
he is
Ricky
something.
Martin was like an early like, oh, I think I might like guys because like I mean, there's no era of that man's life where he hasn't been sexy, but yes, defying the laws of aging. But like I just feel like Benito is so like family obviously like representing Puerto Rico is like a huge priority for him, but he's such a family guy and he's in it for so much more than himself and he's in it to uplift others and I felt like I got really emotional a bunch of times thinking about it.
Yeah, I did too. I did too. The choreography was also very specific. He brought in, there were six different choreographers, two main ones, one choreographer that worked with Kendrick Lamar, for his Super Bowl halftime. And she was nominated for an Emmy. Yeah, she was nominated for an Emmy. So she was the main one, but then everyone else was Puerto Rican and Dominican. There was one girl that was brought in from New York because she does a very specific type of salsa that originated in New York with New Yorkers. And so, like, if you saw when they were on the floor and they were dancing, that was salsa on one, which they brought her specifically to teach that. Because there's a lot of New Yorkers everywhere. Like part of who Bad Bunny is because of the New Yorkers. So everything from the choreography to the makeup, which the makeup that they used for the show was from a Mexican sustainable like artist who like is all about Latinidad and sustainability and like saving the planet. Literally every single part of that show was well thought out and like so deep.
It really is beautiful. When you were mentioning New Yorkers, one of my best friends in the entire world, who I met in college in New York, is half Puerto Rican and half Chilean. Her mom's from Puerto Rico, her dad was from Chile, and they lived in. She grew up in Queens, and so even though I was away from, like I was further from home, like I spent a lot of time in their family home when I was in college because it was nearby, and I felt like I got like such an like growing up in the Northeast, we would go to Puerto Rico on vacation and stuff like that. But like I felt like I got the authentic Puerto Rican family experience at my friend Karina's house. And so your family history, your mom lives in Guatemala now, but
Yeah.
her back is that where her family was from originally or no?
Yeah. My
Okay.
mother's originally Guatemalan.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so like and the my friend Karina had gotten married in I had been to Central America, but I hadn't been. My friend Karina got married in Santiago, Chile, on her dad's family side, and I got like I feel like I've been lucky to experience like because Latino culture is obviously not a monolith. Like there's so many different like parts of it, but like to celebrate I felt like there was a celebration of various identities. He listed all of the different countries, and there was like such an inclusiveness to the messaging that I thought was also really special too, as opposed to just making it about Puerto Rico. He really brought everybody in.
Everybody. He brought everybody and their mothers in. He brought in, every single crevice, corner, nook, and cranny. Um, And I think overall, it was a beautiful message of, listen, you don't need to know English in order to know how to dance. Just get up and move. Like if you listen to the rhythm, to the beats, look at the story, these are all things that transcend language. You can go to an opera and understand that you're watching and experiencing something beautiful. You can go to a ballet not knowing how to dance and know that this takes training, technique, and they're telling a beautiful story. you can eat sushi and understand that, hey, maybe this is not your culture, but you're eating something very delicious. To me, it's so nearsighted and so small to say, well, I don't understand English. Like, let me, and I'm sorry if I'm getting like, this is the most political I'll get about
No,
this,
this is
but
I'm full of political outrage and outspokenness, so we encourage that here.
perfect. Because for me, it's really small for you to say, well, I don't know English, so I did not like the Super Bowl because if that's the reason why you are an incredibly small human. Open up. The world is very beautiful. And just because you don't know English, you should not just close yourself, you know?
Well, but those are the same people who are still drinking tequila and picking and cherry picking aspects of different other culture, stealing and appropriating and so on. But no, I am a very devout anti-racist and feel it is the responsibility of white people to check other white people. So you should have seen me on social in the comments. I'm not supposed to go in the comments, but sometimes I go in the comments because I'm sure you saw that fucking loser wrestler guy Jake Paul was
Oh
like
yeah.
telling everybody to change the channel, and then I
And
was
he lives in Puerto Rico.
and for the yes for the tax breaks, and it's absolutely insane. And then my and so I was fondly recalling the video we all got to see of him getting his jaw broken in
Yeah, that was
earlier this year. And my friend Daisy replied to I had said something about it on socials, and my friend Daisy, who just always is the right way to word things, she said watching Jake Paul's jaw get broken in was a sexual experience for me, and I was
ooh.
like, ah, darling. Now, okay, another thing you said is a perfect transition to our next topic because you know even if Bad Bunny, if he had done translated versions in English of his music, it wouldn't sound as good because the Spanish language just flows so much better and it's so sexy. And Mariah Carey, my wife, had just opened the Olympics in Italy singing in Italian because that and it was a big Italian song and that was appreciated. But it's also interesting how like the disparity between what languages people are willing to like there's some what's the when someone's there's a lot of hypocrisy surrounding it. But what I wanted to ask you is, have you watched any of the Olympics?
So before we get into the Olympics, can we just take a beat and like talk about Mariah? Because she deserves to be charioted everywhere she walks. That woman does not deserve to put her foot on the floor. She is a god.
Well,
Um,
the
I
funny thing about those conversations that I always say is that like Mariah never danced because she's singing. Like it's as you know like it is those are it's very special when Janet and Beyonce and certain people do both at the same time. But like that like I think yes, and also as she wears things that are very restrictive for movement. I've seen it and she wears shoes like she needs to be helped around because of what she decides to wear. But
oh,
like
she's corseted.
but yes,
Absolutely.
but to me, like the magic of that is like this bitch still shows up, like still doing it. You know what I mean? And thank you for saying that. I appreciate you giving her props. Now, I always have with the Olympics, I have like an adjacent relationship. Like I'm not one of those people that gets really into it, but I like to sort of like absorb from afar. And the first thing that I remembered about the Winter Olympics was how much clothing everyone's wearing. I don't like
Mhm,
that part in the Summer
mhm.
Olympics, because I remember vividly what was it would have been the 2012. I remember one Olympics like 2012 where I was like really into the men's swimming.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
was
mhm.
like, I wonder if
Tell
Michael
me more,
Phelps was
Rory.
then. It was exciting, and then
What was exciting, Rory?
the lack of clothing and the body
Oh, yeah.
shapes. Yes,
So
that
it
was
wasn't the
exciting.
splashes.
No. And I listen, athletic ability is fascinating, but I've sort of like I've caught the stories that everyone's talking about. Did you hear about the skier who won the gold and then admitted in the post interview to cheating on his girlfriend and tried to get her back by winning the gold?
No, but if someone cheated on me, that's the way I would want them to.
Well, interesting that you say that because okay, so basically what happened, and I want to bring up my notes because I had a specific thing on it, was so like he's experiencing the high of like the dream come true. He's like Norwegian and he's basically like, I lost the love of my life, but I hope she'll take me back now. And I see why he was like on a high and thought that would be like a good time to ask, but she was like, No. Like not like as though one has to do with the like, oh, now that you won the gold, I guess it's okay. And so the girlfriend responded publicly, it is hard to ignore even after a declaration of love in front of the whole world. I did not choose to end up in this situation, and it hurts to have to be in it. He's aware of my views on this. So I kind of like how she was like, you don't get to, that doesn't fix it.
She should work for a PR agency because that was kind of masterful. That was the greatest way of being like, you're an idiot. You're still an idiot. And just because you have a gold medal around your neck doesn't
Now
make
they
you.
had only been, I know that's the thing. Now they had only been together for 3 months, and who knows? I don't know. Who knows what I would have done, but I kind of like how she didn't let the him winning the Olympic gold.
Dude, hold on a second. 3 months. And you're dedicating your gold medal to
That's
someone.
true. That's
That is
true.
kind of crazy.
You know what? I thought I knew how I felt about this, but you're kind of pointing out, and also like that's not that long to be like I don't know, like cheating on someone after 3 months is like that's still almost like the probationary period. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Like, are you officially dating at 3 months, but you're dedicating your gold medal? She's got something special, I'll tell you there.
What I know is that women expect monogamy real quick. And I'm not saying it's not justified, but I'm like I've been shocked at some women who have been like after the first doing it, they are expect like it works different on this in this field.
Okay, all right, but at least for me, when we have decided, all right, we're exclusive, I'm expecting monogamy starting there.
Oh,
That
yes,
day
that's no,
one.
that's true. That's a great point is that once it's been agreed on, you got to live up to it. I agree
But
with that.
before that, like the courting phase, I'm still dating, and dating to me means I'm getting to know different people at different times. Once we become exclusive, then I will sign on the dotted line.
And you are somebody I believe you are a man of your word. I think it's funny when we were I knew I would like you very quickly when we were working together, and I realized it was because I saw how you handle things, and I was like something felt familiar. I was like I was like this guy like it's the Boston. It's like you handle shit. You don't fuck around. You get things done. But the other thing about where we're from that I think is a through line is that like the loyalty thing like
Yeah.
the you showing up for your people like Boston people do not fuck around when it comes to family and when it comes to like yeah like showing up when you say you're going to show up so I
Absolutely.
absolutely I get that.
Like I'm very much like if you are on my side and you knew this, and I'm not saying that because you did something that I had to like cover up. So old employers, if you're watching this, well, what I'm saying is I like let me know where the bodies are.
Yeah, no,
Let me
yes.
let me I am that ride or die person. And obviously there's limits, right? Like there's boundaries to be had. But if you are my person, I need you to know that you're safe because I expect that same safety in return. So yeah, like absolutely. If I say I'm going to do something, and especially to those that I fuck with heavy, oh, I'm doing that thing.
Well, this just like now that we're talking about it, I didn't plan to bring this up, but when I had to evacuate during the fires, you helped me out big time, and
Yeah.
that was huge. And so like, and I knew I was like it was a situation where I was like. It would be awkward. Like I didn't feel uncomfortable calling you on a Saturday morning because I knew you. Like I knew you would want to help. So anyway, this is speaks to your character. But okay, the other Olympics story that I wanted to talk about is there was a figure skater who was favored. He like what helped the team win the gold, but then when it was time for singles, he fell a bunch of times. You saw that.
Ilya,
And
yes.
what are the chances he has the same name as the heated rivalry character?
Oh, and so automatically I was rooting for
I
him.
know. Oh my God, because Ilya, I can't please from heated rivalry.
I was rooting. I
Well,
was.
okay, and also I went on a date with a figure skater a couple of months ago, and I did a really embarrassing thing. And do you ever like it's when you say something and you're like, "That's not what I meant," but now I can't have it back. I was trying to remark on how much athleticism is required in figure skating, like how it's so it requires so much of your body. It's not just about gliding around and dancing on the ice, but I accidentally said it's kind of like a sport. I was like, and he was like, yeah. So turns out we're not still together. That was just a date. But I never thought figure skaters would be my type, but like this guy really impressed me. And then, but like also what has occurred to me too, like, okay, so this kid's like 20, the one who fell on the ice. Like he's like 21. Like something about the Olympics that's really intense to me is like the idea that like your entire career peak, like the pressures and the success or the failures, it all happens so young. One of my favorite things about comedy is you can do it until you die if you keep getting good at it. You can keep getting better at it and you can keep having, but like the idea of those stakes being at that age, and he said like he fell twice and he was like it was all mental. Like he was like it's not like I wasn't prepared, it was all mental. And I just like you can see it on his face and it was so crushing. I felt terrible for him.
Yeah, yeah. It was first of all, I did the same thing that you did with the figure skating, but it wasn't a day. It was a cheerleader. I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of like a sport, and I almost got like knocked out because that was not.
Even though you mean it as a compliment, you
Yeah,
really do. Yeah.
like it is a sport. I'm like, yes, yes, it
Yes, it
is.
is.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
it's when it's coming from a place of admiration. I don't know how mad you could be, but okay. So there's something that I really want to talk to you
Oh
about.
wait,
That's
wait, wait.
go
Before
ahead.
before that, we were talking about the Olympics. He fell. So he had both of his parents are figure skaters.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't know that.
both of
Wait,
his parents.
are they the ones that died in the plane crash?
No,
Oh,
that was the
okay,
person. That was the person that came in eighth.
okay,
He came in fifth. And so he met like or he didn't. I don't know if it was fifth or eighth or whatever he came, but he royally messed up. And Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir. Are you familiar with who they are?
yes. Johnny
So
Weir's gay, right? Yeah.
yes, Johnny Weir is gay. They're both on this season of Traitors also. So they were live broadcasting and they were like, yeah, this is all mental because he literally, they know him as the quad god. He's the only person in this world that can do four fucking somersault, backflip, jump split, whatever it is, death drops like in the air. And he usually does like seven of those in his same performance, and he couldn't land anything. So at one point, Tara's like, "Yeah, this is all mental." Like 100%, she was calling it like out live. It was crazy to watch in real time.
Well, and stand-up comedy is not a sport for sure, but like, I think a lot of people can relate to where like it's any sort of performance. Like once you've tripped, you can tumble. Like
Yeah.
it's like not just physically, like emotionally, mentally, like when you're doing stand up, if you like get disoriented, it's very hard to come back to it. And I think, and I imagine it's something so physical. But by the way, being called the quad god, he's always going to get laid. That's going to be okay. But you know what's so hard about sports is like this narrative will be attached to him until there's something bigger that happened. You know what I mean? Like how awful to be defined by something so young. But again, to be known as the quad god, that doesn't sound terribly.
It doesn't sound terrible
There's
at
some
all.
upside. It's a great nickname.
Oh, 100%. And the thing is that because he's the only one that does what he does, he will be back to the Olympics next year, and his story will be one of the no, I don't want to say the underdog, but the person that came back, you know. So
Yes.
he has the story. He'll be just fine. Trust me, like he will be fine. But in those situations too, when I'm messing up, I start sweating like horribly. And like going back to our conversation earlier, and it like thank God he's at least on ice and like in a very cold place.
Right.
He wouldn't necessarily have the same problems I would.
No, and then once like the sweat attack starts, it's just
Brutal.
awful. Awful. Oh my God. Oh, I totally know the feeling. I get them when I get my hair cut and they put the over this in the summer and they put the tarp over me. And I'm like, you gotta know we can't do the tarp. Like, just let the hair go where it's gonna go. You know what the big solve is if it ever happens to you is we do an emergency shampooing. Get me under the cold water. So
That
if
makes
it, yeah, it helps. But okay, so I wanted to tell you because this is a my love life situation. Okay.
oh
You and I have talked candidly and privately about our various love life situations, and you're somebody whose thoughts I really and input I really appreciate. And
mhm.
I have been work at the podcast audience knows I've been working with a therapist since September. who I really like a lot, who I think really gets me, and I feel like we've broken me open in a lot of different ways, and I've been wondering how it's gonna affect my life in other ways because like some of the stuff is like stuff I can't unsee, and I don't know. It's really interesting. It's a lot of perspective at once, and I've been sort of joking like. I feel like I might be about on the verge of getting booed up after this like therapy journey that is ongoing. I went to NYU, um, and when I got to NYU, I wasn't gay. And you know what they say about NYU? Gay by May. It was more
Oh.
like the next December. but but like anyway, there was a journey. The like a lot of people, the person I was when I was 18 and the person I was when I was 21 when I left the joint, completely different. So much evolution happens during those ages, so much change. And so I had to shed a lot of like my family growing up was very confrontational, like I came in hot to NYU, very overly Boston. I came out more grown, more, you know. Anyway, you know, I don't know if you have this experience, but like I get nervous reconnecting with certain people who know me from before a certain point in time because anything from before that I can't stand by. That was an underdeveloped version of me. I don't know that guy. That guy's kind of a jerk, whatever. And so I get a DM, an anonymous DM last Friday that knocked me off my feet. This is what it says. Anonymous DM, like can't it's a burner account. All right, this is going to come from left field, but we went to NYU. I thought you were smoking hot, but I had no idea you were gay, and you terrified me because I thought you were straight. But the obsession with Mariah should have given me a hint. Then you randomly appeared on my
Yeah.
For You page recently. Like, what? This is my burner account because you still scare me. Also, nice to see we both glowed up and got jacked a little bit. I'm like, what is this? So here's the thing: is that and I want to phrase this the right way, but like, I don't know. Like, there was a lot of glowing up that occurred. 18 and 19-year-old Rory, like, we had some work to do. Like, it wasn't like I was walking around the campus at that time feeling like, wow, everyone's really into me. Like, I had to grow into it, and so like, and to know that like there was somebody like watching from afar. I was like, who could this be? And I like there weren't a lot of guys in my program. Like I didn't I didn't really like I did not hook up with NYU guys. Like any sort of sexual experimentation was probably like starting around 1920, but it was always with like nobody from school because at this time it was too close. Too, you know what I mean? And I was still just like a late bloomer. And so I was like, I couldn't think of anybody. And so a few days go by and I'm just like, oh, what a like, also like very flattering, right? Like it's a total like secret admirer note the week of Valentine's Day. I'm like, oh,
Right.
whatever. So then I write back and I'm like, wow, like what a fucking cryptic message. I was like, sorry to be scary. Like I had a pretty underdeveloped personality. Like at the time, like there's no reason to be scared of me. Like, thank you for reaching out. I'm just curious who this is. So days go by and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm sure this is a very nice person. This is going to be somebody who like I went to college with in some degree and it'll be nice to reconnect. Great. I'm
Wait,
sure
so days go by and he hasn't replied yet.
No, because he went to his burner account and he's like, unbeknownst to me, very anxious about this whole thing. So today he writes back and he's like, you have no idea how much I was checking for you, like from afar. He was like, we had friends, you were friends of friends, but like, he was like, I was terrified to even speak to you. And he was like, and he was like, I didn't think you were gay. And he was like, I was like, very attracted to you, and so it was really frustrating to be attracted to you. And he was like, I kind of also thought you were sort of like too cocky, and but then I still liked it, and all these things. And so I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm sure he's gonna be really nice, but like the chances are very low that like this is gonna be somebody that's my type. Like, when does it work out like that? So I was like, I'm gonna need to see a current. So he sent me pictures of himself from then, and he sent me pictures of himself from now.
And you knew who he was.
I did not. I did not know who he was. But I was like, I opened the pictures of him. He's like, I was really skinny and like awkward then. He's like, I've had a real glow up myself. And so I saw the photos of him from then first. And I was like, well, this isn't so, like, I was like, he looks great. He looks like a cute 19-year-old kid. Like, what's like, I would have been attracted to this. I open up the pictures of him from now. what the fuck? Smoke show. I was like,
Oh,
what? And but he's like nervous to talk to me. Like we're doing voice messages, and he's like, you could hear his voice like shaking a little bit. And I'm like, what? Like you know how you like there are certain people you're like, why would you be nervous to talk to me? What's happening? And he was like, you don't even know. He's like, what he was like, we never even spoke, and he's been thinking about me all the time. He was like, I was at a party once in 2017, and he was like, I was sure that you were there, and he was like, no matter how many drinks I had, I could not bring myself to talk to you. And I was like, well, if it makes you feel any better, I wasn't there. That wasn't me. And he was like, okay, good, because he was like, I've been blaming. I was like, I've been in LA for a long time. He was like, I've been blaming myself for missing that chance. So this
wait,
is
wait, wait. So he's in LA.
no. So he's in New York, but I think for LAers, New York is the second best place to be. Like I can work with that. I'm in New York enough, like I can work with that. But it would be better if he was in LA. But so like and like I want to protect his identity because he's a really private person. But like this is this is like the premise of a young adult novel series. Like this is like a teen a WB show, you know?
What would the first two sentences of this book read?
Probably maybe like from his message.
His
Like
message.
this is gonna come from out from left field. But and I mean, here's the thing too. The reason I brought up the therapy part is like we've been unpacking in therapy like what am I looking for and why do I need validation from different sources and what like again, this could also just be a very cute, like nostalgic thing, like whatever, like, or he's a psychopath or whatever. Like, I'm not saying this is like, oh my God, I found love. But like the timing is weird because I've been doing all of this work on myself where like if this had been thrown at me even 6 months ago, I would have probably been somewhat reckless or like funny about it. But now I'm like, wait, like, because this is the thing about that age is people the first guy I ever fell in love with, one of the only guys I've ever been in love with, was when I was 19 and we worked together. And like, there's something about the people from that time in your life; they just can leave an impact, you know,
Mhm.
because it's such a formative era. So like. I don't know if he had encountered me for the first time years later, I would have left such an imprint. But because it was of that time, he's just always had me in mind, and it's just sort of it's extremely flattering. But I'm like, what does it mean?
It's a formidable time. Like it's a very like when you're 19, 20 years old, you're coming into your own. The fact that he's held on to it this long and at the age that he's sending you a message, a DM, uh it's telling. It's really kind of cool, honestly, because I'm someone who also understands fantasy. Like part of the allure behind relationships is like the thinking, the romanticizing and the thinking and like so there's something about the message that he sent you like it's before he sent you the pictures where he's like it's nice to know that we both glammed up. I've gained a little bit of muscle too. You then start to think, who is this person and what
Right,
could
right.
he look like now you're super curious. And then, he sends you the message and he's this smoke show. You're like, okay, well,
Well, and like, the other part of that too is that I'm like, oh, well, if you liked me then, like, wait till you see, like, this is like, we've done some work on this meat casing. It's all, like, like, there's something, it's like, there's a part of me that's always wanted to like, adult Rory to be able to like protect adolescent Rory. Like I want to go back in time and like fight my younger self's fights for him. And like, I just want to like, cause what's interesting is like, he thought I was so cocky. Like that's why he was intimidated by me. And I was like, the craziest thing is that was insecurity. That,
yeah.
that was insecurity. I'm so much more confident now and I'm so much more approachable now. I'm so much kinder now. I'm so much more like, that was adolescent insecurity that had to be shed. But he like it's very flattering for someone to be like to have liked you from it's almost like when someone's like you before you got money. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you actually like the core me.
And
But
you've seen the core me, right? Like you've
yeah.
experienced him.
But like, what a secret admirer situation. I just get so I love when I go back to New York and I spend time downtown. I just get like so Like I feel like I felt like I was such a romantic young man, like, you
Mm.
know, listening to corny R&B songs and thinking they applied to my life. And like I just, and then I think like part of like getting older, like I always say, it's not like I got jaded, it's more like I just got like, oh, let me like manage my expectations with these dopey men. But like there, it's just so fun. It's funny that he lives there because it's like I'm like, oh, that when I'm back in New York, maybe this is something I'm realizing for the first time is like part of why I like to go back to New York sometimes is it connects me with like a more innocent side of myself, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think you and I have had some really good conversations about like realistic expectations versus romantic you know, like meeting our realistic expectations with like what we deserve from people romantically. You know what I mean? Like it's not asking too much for there to be some romance, I say.
100%. And a lot of times, at least for me, a lot of what we talked about is like falling in love with the romanticizing as opposed to falling in love with
The
the
idea of the person.
yeah,
Yes.
like you really fall in love with the potential of what he or the situation could be. But in reality, like when you look at what's happening, you're like, these two things don't match.
Well, and that's why it's so easy. And this is something that's come up in therapy a lot. Like, this is why it's so easy to have a crush on somebody at the gym because all you see is them physical. But
Mm.
you, and then you get to paint in your head like, oh, I bet he's real. I bet he's really thoughtful. I bet he has a nice job. I bet he calls his mom. I bet, you know, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then, and this is what, and then this is what happens is that you paint this image of somebody, and then we get the ick when we realize, oh, you have this issue and this problem and you're not emotionally available and et cetera, et cetera. And so, but you know, it's interesting too because there's something about you know, connecting with somebody that you didn't even know you had a connection with. And like I was like at the very least like this is material. This is there's much to be gleaned from this, but it's also you and I have talked too about how like with app culture and everybody becomes so disposable and interchangeable with each other and it's just like one thing you don't like about somebody and then it's on to the next. I think like there's something to be said for having like a backstory that
Mhm.
keeps engaged. Okay. So now, so we've been doing voice messages all day today.
Oh.
What after you and I stopped doing the podcast, um, there's nudes in my DMs and I haven't seen them yet. So that'll
Oh.
be the next layer of if it could be by next episode I'm engaged. We don't know. We don't know.
Oh, and when's the next episode being filmed, Rory?
Well, this episode will drop this Thursday, so I have a week and a half to announce my engagement. But you, I think you were you like you're a
Even
great.
better than him.
I think you're a great I think you do a really good job of like you still are romantic, but like you're very pragmatic. Would you
Yeah.
say? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, at least here's my thing is when I look for like feedback or when I tell my friends about what is happening in my relationship or what's going on, I'm very specific about being honest about what's on my side of the street and what's on their side of the street because I'm not looking for you to tell me what I want to hear. I'm
Yes.
looking to better understand how to navigate a situation. And I like the term girl's girl, like when people are like, oh, you're a girl's girl, you're gonna ride for me, you're gonna no, I want you to tell me, Michael, you're being a fucking idiot. Michael, you're doing this. Michael,
I
you're
need it,
because
please. Yeah.
exactly like I need you to tell me, like, hey, you're not looking at this from the right perspective. And so I try to be pragmatic in that sense of like, help me look through the lens of this to see what I'm not understanding before I come in with like solutions or whatnot. Because the honest truth is that I'm only looking at this through my eyes, right? And somebody else is only looking through it through theirs. And like communicate if we're both not on the same page, then communication hasn't happened, you know? So I'm like, okay, how do we come together? And sometimes I need to get out of my own head to really understand what's happening. So I always leverage my friends and the people around me. I think that's what helps me be pragmatic is that like I'm always trying to get an honest opinion of like the entire spectrum.
I love, and that's why my friends, I rely on them to keep it real with me. And I vowed to them, I'm like, I will not make somebody who sucks your problem. Because
Yeah.
I've had that issue where I'm like, oh God, somebody's significant other is not great. like, and then you're like, oh, I have to be around them all the time. I was so relieved. My brother got engaged this year, and
Ooh.
his fiance is. I hit the sister-in-law jackpot. Like,
Yeah.
she's perfect, and I'm like, I couldn't ask for. Like, I tell her that all the time, and because I know that like it could have gone. You know, it could have gone anyway. So I believe in that. Before okay, so can I just tell you? You're really good at this, and you're invited back anytime because you're
Okay.
a natural. Is this have you done podcasts before?
I've done one other podcast where I spoke about my weight loss journey. That's the only other time I've done that.
And you've talked about that. Do you want to plug your because you have a lot of followers on TikTok. Do you want to plug your socials?
Sure. I'll be completely honest. I deleted my TikTok
Oh,
because
you
of
did.
the stuff.
Fair enough.
And you know, I thought about it because I'm like I'm building traction. And just recently I was in Guatemala. Did I tell you what happened to me in Guatemala?
I knew it was a good visit with your mom, but I didn't know something. Oh, did you meet somebody?
No, so
Oh,
like I got stuck in Guatemala for a few days, and so I posted, "Hey, here in Guatemala for a few days in Spanish. Hey, here in Guatemala for a few days. Does anybody want to go to the museum?" I ended up going on three separate
you did
dates.
tell me that. Yes,
One with
yes.
like a politician, one with an architect, and one with like a veterinarian.
That's
And
wild.
out of nowhere, my stuff was like blowing up in Guatemala. So anyway, I was gaining a lot of traction, but then all this stuff that's happening with the information they're collecting, I
No, you're
decided to
right.
get rid of it. But you can follow me on Instagram, Michael, Michaelpin, three A's, and that's it.
Well, please do that. And then, okay, last topic before we go, because I think it's so weird because we were just talking about like being 20, 21, like that age. Something that's really bizarre that I've been noticing that like keeps being shown to me is, have you noticed that cigarettes are back? Like back. Like it's like they didn't like here's my theory. This is what I think happened. You're about my age, right? So when we were growing up, we were the generation of like, hey, your grandparents all have cancer because they smoked cigarettes. Don't
100%.
smoke cigarettes. Let's ban cigarettes. Cigarettes are bad, 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 bad. We got
But that didn't
the
happen
message.
until we were like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Right, like I just remember like when I was a kid, my grandparents, everyone was quitting smoking who had smoked. In the 80s, everything smelled like smoke. My dad would come home from a bar, he smelled like smoke, and this is the early 90s. But we were the generation that was like, no fucking way. Okay, great. Never had a desire in my life. Younger Gen Z, like I want to say people who are 20 right now, they're all fucking smoking cigarettes. And I think what happened was they got addicted to nicotine by the vapes and they're smoking cigarettes to get off the vapes, which is the whole anti point of the vapes to begin with. But it's like what something that drives me crazy is when something becomes cool that we already established was dumb. And then enough people do it and then it becomes what the cool kids do. And it's very like I don't know how to save these kids.
It was the vape. The vape was
It
the
was the
gay.
vape.
The vape was the bisexual. And then the cigarette.
The transitional, yes. But I just want to say to our younger listeners, please, God Almighty, don't smoke cigarettes. Uncle Rory is begging you.
Just jump right in. Be gay.
Just yes. If you want to put something in your mouth, use a dick. Okay? God Almighty. We all have oral fixations. Figure it out.
It's a lot
That's
less expensive.
that's a great place to that's a great place to end. Michael, thank you for being with us. I hope you'll come back. I adore you. You are such a you contribute so much, and follow him on Instagram. And yeah, I mean, have you kept in touch with any of your Guatemalan suitors?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Well, actually, I did. I was just there for a few days. I hit one of them up, but I didn't really have much time.
You
So,
know what? You're booked and
if
busy. You're in
any of
demand,
your
baby.
followers, if any of your listeners are out there single in LA, hit me up.
Oh, God, he's a catch. Please, highly recommend. And until next week, you guys stay super exciting.